Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sally's ethical conundrum. Sharon discovers Kyle's major failure. While Sharon Newman finds out a secret, Sally Spectra will have to deal with a moral quandary. Here's what Y&R fans should anticipate as Kyle Abbott also faces a significant setback. Claire Newman will have yet another significant outburst over the week. Claire will be agitated by Kyle's covert arrangement with Victor Newman this time, so she might make him reveal the information. The idea that Kyle agreed to pay $5 million and leave the city if he were to break Claire's heart won't sit well with her. Claire will be tired of Kyle keeping things from her because he hasn't told her anything up until now. While Kyle's efforts to mend his relationship with Claire are unsuccessful, a threat will frighten AUDRA Charles. If AUDRA continues to irritate Claire and Kyle, Holden Novak will make it plain that he is prepared to divulge their Los Angeles secret. We'll see if Claire receives updates on any LA crimes that were buried as she exerts additional pressure on Holden later. She will talk from the heart with Tessa Porter over with Mariah Copeland, but if she is unable to be really honest, that might not be enough. Mariah will admit something, but it might not be the truth regarding the deadly accident she caused while traveling for work. Tessa will keep fortifying her bond with Michael Graziardi's character Daniel Romalotti Jr., while Peter Bergman's character Jack Abbott receives an ambiguous message. It might set the stage for the mayhem that Kane Ashby is about to bring about at Abbott Communications. Michelle Stafford's character Phyllis Summers might atone for her most recent transgression in Kane's personal life by assisting him in winning a significant career victory. When Sally and Billy Abbott's launch party is cancelled, there should be a coordinated effort. Kane will be held accountable for that, therefore he might want to demonstrate that he is now in charge of the company's destiny. This could be because of the AI software that has been mentioned. Following Kane's audacious announcement, Jack will question Billy while Phyllis boasts to Sally and offers some advice. Kane may claim that Sally can only remain on board as CEO if she complies with his dubious guidelines since she will soon face a moral dilemma. However, Sally might think about striking Kane with a low strike in retaliation. In the end, Nick Newman will tell Sharon about a secret, which may include some of the Kane mayhem he has learnt about. Additionally, it appears that Michael Baldwin will accept Kane's employment offer. Nevertheless, he will work covertly for Victor and will expose any scams before they cause trouble. Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti might need to change some of their wedding preparations over the week of September 15th to 19th. Although Danny and Christine's wedding is scheduled for October, much more preparation will need to be done before the big day. Somehow, Christine and Danny's wedding preparations will go awry, but they will overcome any challenges that arise. Back with Billy, he will cause problems in his relationship with Chelsea Lawson in order to enrage Adam Newman. Billy's relationship with Sally may suffer if Adam is careless and retaliates against Billy. The failure of Billy's launch party. Tessa's music lessons with Daniel have paid off. He is eager to impress his rock star father his newfound musical ability. Daniel's father will enjoy his song, Tessa assures him. Daniel acknowledges that Tessa wrote the song and claims that she transformed the melody and lyrics into something lovely, much like herself. Daniel's words have surprised Tessa, and he might shock her much more. He may be prepared to come clean about his love for Tessa. Holden, Claire's new friend, is spending more time with her. The two keep discussing AUDRA, who is their least favorite person. Holden shares details about their past with Claire, who is still interested in learning more about their relationship. Holden discloses that he and AUDRA have previously engaged in an illegal activity. Holden responds that Claire's perception of him may shift if she learnt the truth when she asks if he was shielding AUDRA or himself. What then did Holden and AUDRA do? In her conflict with AUDRA, will Claire use this as leverage? Sally and Billy have been waiting for this moment. It's the formal opening celebration for Abbott Communications, their new business. When the couple gets to society, they are prepared to celebrate, but the place is deserted. Kane walks in and says he's happy they made it, while they are wondering where their guests have gone. Kane's decision to call off the celebration is undoubtedly another attempt to demonstrate his power as Genoa City's new businessman. However, what does he hope to gain from Billy and Sally? Sally Spectra's ethical conundrum was not just about business. It was about survival, integrity, and whether she had the strength to resist the dangerous game Kane Ashby was now playing with Abbott Communications. A game that had the power to ruin her career, her relationship with Billy, and the fragile trust she had started building with the Newman family. Sharon Newman, meanwhile, was beginning to peel back layers of secrets that Genoa City's most powerful residents thought they had buried, and her latest discovery threatened to blow Kyle Abbott's world wide open. Sharon, guided by her instincts and her ability to sense when someone was hiding something, stumbled across Victor Newman's paperwork regarding a clandestine agreement Kyle had signed months earlier. The terms were damning. Kyle had secretly promised Victor that he would pay $5 million and leave Genoa City if he broke Claire's heart. To Sharon, who had watched Kyle grow up under Jack Abbott's protection, this revelation was catastrophic, not only because of the financial blackmail involved but because it revealed Kyle's lack of transparency with Claire. Sharon knew that keeping silent would protect Kyle's reputation for the moment, but telling Claire could save her from building her future on a foundation of lies. As Sally faced a moral dilemma in her career, Sharon now found herself at an ethical crossroads in her personal relationships, weighing honesty against loyalty. Claire Newman's temper, already volatile, flared again during the week of September 8 to 12. When she pieced together that Kyle's evasiveness and erratic behavior had deeper roots than he admitted. She cornered Kyle at society, tears of rage and disbelief streaking her face, and demanded to know if it was true, that he had signed away his autonomy to her grandfather, that he had turned their love into a transaction with a price tag. Kyle stammered, unable to deny it, and the damage was instant. Claire's trust, already fragile, shattered like glass, and her fury echoed through the room. The irony was bitter. Kyle had entered into that pact to protect her from heartbreak, but by hiding it, he had ensured the very devastation he swore he would prevent. While Kyle's desperate attempts to mend the relationship fell flat, another storm brewed. AUDRA Charles received a chilling message from Holden Novak, warning her that if she continued antagonizing Claire and Kyle, he was prepared to spill their Los Angeles secret. The threat was not empty. Holden knew things about AUDRA's past that could end her carefully crafted image, and Claire, still reeling from Kyle's betrayal, pressed Holden for details. Holden teased the truth, admitting he and AUDRA had once been entangled in something illegal, something serious enough to change Claire's perception of him forever. Claire was torn. Should she leverage Holden's confession to destroy AUDRA, or was she in danger of aligning herself with yet another liar? She confided in Tessa Porter, seeking clarity, but her confession fell short of full honesty. Mariah Copeland, overhearing fragments of the conversation, found herself cornered into revealing a secret of her own. She hinted at a deadly accident she had caused while traveling for work, an admission so vague it left Tessa shaken but still loyal. Tessa, trying to ground herself, turned her focus back to Daniel Romalotti Jr., whose musical journey she had been mentoring. Daniel's latest song was a hit with his father, but Daniel shocked Tessa by crediting her completely, calling her the one who had transformed his raw ideas into beauty. The intimacy of his words unsettled Tessa, stirring emotions she hadn't expected, and leaving her wondering whether Daniel was on the brink of confessing a deeper love. While that emotional tangle unfolded, Jack Abbott received an anonymous message, cryptic and threatening, implying that Abbott Communications was on the verge of sabotage. Jack, already balancing the weight of Diane's complicated loyalties and Kyle's reckless choices, felt powerless as Kane Ashby maneuvered himself into the spotlight. Kane, emboldened by his own vision of power, cancelled Billy and Sally's long-awaited launch party, leaving the couple humiliated when they arrived at a deserted society, only to find Kane waiting with a smug grin. Kane's power move was clear. He wanted to cement himself as the new business titan of Genoa City, and embarrassing Billy was only the first step. He claimed control of Abbott Communications' destiny, hinting that his AI software development could eclipse anything Billy and Sally had planned. In the aftermath, Kane publicly declared that Sally could remain CEO only if she complied with his questionable guidelines, essentially daring her to choose between her ambition and her ethics. Sally, shaken, saw her future flash before her: comply and secure power under Kane's thumb, or fight back and risk everything. The temptation to retaliate with a low blow crossed her mind, a thought that frightened her because it revealed just how much Kane had gotten under her skin. Phyllis Summers, ever the opportunist, seized the chance to offer Sally advice, boasting about her own ability to survive Genoa City's ruthless business wars, while secretly plotting to align herself with Kane for her own advantage. Jack, furious with Billy for letting Kane get this far, demanded answers, while Billy spiraled into reckless behavior that began to fracture his relationship with Chelsea Lawson. His tangled history with Adam Newman only added fuel to the fire, with Adam poised to strike back if Billy's provocations crossed the line. Amidst this chaos, Nick Newman confided in Sharon about Kane's underhanded maneuvers, filling in the gaps of the story she hadn't yet uncovered. The revelations tied Kyle's secret deal to Kane's schemes, painting a picture of manipulation that reached deeper than anyone realized. Sharon, caught between protecting those she loved and speaking the truth, knew that her choices in the coming days could change the balance of power in Genoa City. Meanwhile, Michael Baldwin accepted Kane's job offer, but in reality, he was working as Victor's covert operative, prepared to expose Kane's scams before they escalated into catastrophe. The web of deception tightened as Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti faced setbacks in their wedding planning, symbolic of how even love and celebration in Genoa City were vulnerable to disruption. Yet they resolved to press on, determined not to let external chaos ruin their union. As Christine and Danny's challenges played out, the spotlight circled back to Sally, standing at the precipice of an ethical decision that could define her future. Her dilemma mirrored Sharon's, whether to stay silent to protect herself, or to reveal truths that could unleash destruction but ultimately lead to justice. The tension at Abbott Communications, the fracture between Kyle and Claire, AUDRA's looming exposure, Holden's dangerous hints, Billy's reckless spiral, Tessa's awakening emotions, and Kane's growing dominance all converged into one inevitable reality. Genoa City was on the edge of another explosion, and every secret that had been buried was clawing its way to the surface. Sally Spectra sat alone in her office after Kane's brazen sabotage of her and Billy's launch party, staring at the scattered documents on her desk as if they might give her the answer she desperately sought. The humiliation still burned in her chest, walking into a deserted society, clutching Billy's hand, only to be met with Kane's smug smirk and his declaration that he was the one steering Abbott Communications now. She replayed the moment over and over, wondering if she had underestimated him or if she had simply ignored the warning signs because she wanted so badly for this venture to succeed. Sally had fought tooth and nail for her career, reinventing herself countless times. And now Kane Ashby was dangling her future like a puppet master, forcing her into an ethical crossroads. His ultimatum rang in her ears. Stay on as CEO if she was willing to follow his questionable rules, or step aside and watch everything she had built crumble. It wasn't just about business. It was about integrity, about whether she was going to allow herself to become another pawn in Genoa City's endless power games. Billy, for his part, was fuming, pacing their living room like a caged animal, cursing Kane and vowing revenge, but Sally knew rage alone wouldn't save them. What terrified her was the thought that she might have to stoop to Kane's level, to strike him where it hurt, if she wanted to survive. Across town, Sharon Newman was facing her own crisis of conscience. The folder she had found among Victor's documents still lay hidden in her desk drawer at Crimson Lights, its damning contents gnawing at her. The contract between Kyle and Victor wasn't just a secret. It was a betrayal that could devastate Claire. Sharon had always seen herself as a protector, someone who guided others toward honesty and healing, but revealing Kyle's duplicity could set off a chain reaction of pain. Still, wasn't it worse to let Claire live in ignorance, believing in a man who had commodified their love? Sharon wrestled with the decision for days, her conversations with Nick only deepening the dilemma. Nick, grim-faced, had confirmed that Kane's moves were connected to a wider web of manipulation, and Sharon could no longer pretend that silence was the safest choice. The weight of Kyle's secret pressed on her like a stone, and she knew sooner or later, she would have to decide whether to tell Claire the truth. Kyle, meanwhile, was unraveling. Claire's fury after confronting him about the deal with Victor had left him gutted. He had tried to explain, to frame it as an act of love, a misguided attempt to protect her, but Claire's eyes had burned with betrayal. She could not accept that he had signed such a pact without telling her, that he had reduced their relationship to a financial transaction in Victor's eyes. Worse, Kyle's credibility was crumbling. Every omission, every half-truth, every delay in confessing the full scope of his actions only reinforced Claire's belief that he was incapable of transparency. She pulled away from him, spending more time with Holden Novak, a dangerous move given Holden's own entanglements with AUDRA Charles. Kyle, desperate, sought advice from Jack, But his father was too consumed with Abbott Communications' implosion to offer more than a frustrated lecture about responsibility. For the first time in years, Kyle felt utterly alone, with no ally to shield him from the consequences of his own decisions. Claire, still reeling, pressed Holden for more about his history with AUDRA. Holden, with his casual charm and calculated smirks, admitted just enough to keep her hooked. That he and AUDRA had been involved in something off the books in Los Angeles, that it was serious enough to ruin both of them if it ever came to light. Claire's instincts screamed that he was holding back, but she was too intrigued, and too angry at Kyle, to walk away. Holden's confession became ammunition in her brewing war against AUDRA, though she knew wielding it could also entangle her in dangerous territory. AUDRA, sensing the shift in Claire's attitude, grew defensive, lashing out in sharp retorts that only made her look guiltier. The tension between the two women thickened, each looking for leverage to destroy the other. At the same time, Mariah Copeland's accidental admission about a deadly accident weighed heavily on Tessa Porter's heart. Tessa loved Mariah deeply, but the vagueness of the confession haunted her. What exactly had happened on that trip? Was Mariah hiding something that could resurface and tear their family apart? Instead of pressing Mariah directly, Tessa buried herself in her music sessions with Daniel Romalotti Jr., only to find the boundaries between professional mentorship and emotional intimacy blurring. Daniel's compliments, his reliance on her, his gentle insistence that she was the true creative force behind his song, stirred something Tessa didn't want to name. When he looked at her with those soft eyes and hinted that he might be ready to admit something deeper, her heart skipped, and then plummeted in guilt. Tessa loved Mariah, but she could not deny that Daniel was awakening something she had buried long ago. The thrill of being desired for her artistry, her essence. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers inserted herself into Kane's power play with the precision of a woman who knew exactly how to survive in Genoa City's cutthroat environment. She whispered to Sally that sometimes doing the wrong thing for the right reason was the only way forward, positioning herself as a mentor while secretly plotting her own gain. Phyllis saw Kane not just as a rival but as an opportunity, a chance to tether herself to the next rising titan. Jack, exasperated, could barely stand to watch as his ex-wife once again danced too close to the fire, but he had bigger concerns, an anonymous message warning him that Abbott Communications was vulnerable to sabotage. The ambiguity of the threat gnawed at him, especially as Billy seemed less focused on protecting the company than on nursing his wounded pride. Jack feared that his family's legacy was about to be torn apart by forces both external and internal, and Kane's audacity only confirmed it. Billy, restless and reckless, found solace in antagonizing Adam Newman. Knowing Adam's volatile temper, Billy deliberately needled him, dragging Chelsea Lawson into the crossfire. Chelsea, weary of Billy's obsession with winning every rivalry, warned him that his fixation on Adam could destroy not just their relationship but his professional standing. But Billy couldn't let go. Every failure, every humiliation at Kane's hands, pushed him closer to the edge, and picking a fight with Adam gave him a twisted sense of control. Adam, for his part, saw through Billy's insecurities and began plotting a counterattack that could devastate Billy both personally and professionally. Through it all, Sally found herself torn between Billy's reckless rage and Kane's ruthless demands. On one hand, she admired Billy's passion, but she also saw how self-destructive it was. On the other, she despised Kane's manipulations, but she could not deny that he held the power to decide her fate at Abbott Communications. Her ethical conundrum deepened when Kane invited her to a private meeting, presenting her with a deal that mirrored Kyle's mistake with Victor. Comply, and she could maintain her position with wealth and influence guaranteed, or resist, and risk not only her career but her reputation. Sally felt the trap closing around her, and for the first time in years, she questioned whether she had the strength to fight. Nick, sensing Sharon's turmoil, pressed her to make a decision about Kyle's secret. He argued that Claire deserved the truth, even if it destroyed her relationship with Kyle, because silence would only prolong the inevitable. Sharon, torn, wondered if revealing the contract would also play into Kane's hands, destabilizing the Abbotts further. Every choice seemed to ripple outward, touching lives far beyond her own. Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti's wedding preparations, meant to be a symbol of hope, became yet another reminder of how chaos consumed Genoa City. Their plans kept unraveling, venues double-booked, vendors backing out, unexpected complications at every turn. But their determination to move forward became a quiet contrast to the storms engulfing everyone else. Their love was steady, resilient, a rare light in the city's endless web of secrets and betrayals. The week ended with a series of confrontations that left the entire town buzzing. Claire confronted AUDRA with Holden's half-confession, vowing to uncover the truth about Los Angeles. AUDRA, cornered, spat venom back, accusing Claire of being just as manipulative as the rest of her family. Billy clashed violently with Adam at Society, their shouting match drawing gawkers and escalating into near-physical blows before security intervened. Sally, sleepless and restless, stared into her bathroom mirror and whispered to herself that she would not be Kane's puppet, even if it meant risking everything. And Sharon, after days of agonizing indecision, finally placed the folder with Kyle's contract into her purse, determined to give it to Claire the next time she saw her. But as Sharon closed Crimson Lights for the night, she didn't notice the shadowy figure watching her from across the street. Someone who knew she had the file, someone who was prepared to make sure that secret never saw the light of day.